Jake Gyllenhaal is finally giving his thoughts on Taylor Swift's All Too Well, a song that went to #1 in November after Taylor released the long-awaited 10-minute version of the ballad, and the song has been speculated to be about Taylor's relationship with Jake back in 2010. Now, I did a whole segment about all the lyrics that seem to evoke Jake, so you can go check that out there. Now, Jake gave his comments to Esquire, and once again, a print interview seems to skew things. I don't know when celebrities are going to learn, some celebrities are going to learn, that talking about these big topics in print form is never a good move. You got to do it on camera. So, Eric Sullivan was the writer of this article, so I'm going to read you some of the setup, some of the lead up to what Eric writes before Jake comments, okay? With the song's release, instantly Gyllenhaal became the internet's punching bag. If anyone came to his defense, their message was lost in the overwhelming anti-Jake sentiment that flooded the comments of not just his Instagram account, but also Maggie Gyllenhaal, his sister, and even Jamie Lee Curtis's. Entertainment media feasted for weeks. Gyllenhaal had never been in the press as much as he was in the weeks after the song's release, not even close. Swift did not comment on her fans' reactions. While she has always been open about using her past relationships as lyrical fodder, she's never named names. Until now, Gyllenhaal hasn't commented either. That he turned off his Instagram comments was the only sign this firestorm had affected him at all. So Jake says this: "It has nothing to do with me. It's about her relationship with her fans. It is her expression. Artists tap into personal experiences for inspiration, and I don't begrudge anyone that." So I don't think Jake is saying that the song has nothing to do with him. It would be ridiculous for him to say that because, yeah, there's so many lyrics that clearly connect to him. I think what he's saying is that the visceral reaction that fans had to that song and lashing out at him really has nothing to do with him personally. It's more the protective nature that Swifties have over Taylor, and they lash out at anyone who they think is threatening Taylor's happiness. So that's why he's saying the negativity towards him isn't necessarily about him. It's about Taylor's relationship with her fans and how protective they are about her. Eric then asks about the negative comments that Jake has gotten from Swift fans, and Jake says, "At some point, I think it's important when supporters get unruly that we feel responsibility to have them be civil and not allow for cyberbullying in one's name. That begs for a deeper philosophical question, not about any individual per se, but a conversation that allows us to examine how we can, or should even, take responsibility for what we put out into the world, our contributions into the world. How do we provoke a conversation? We see that in politics. There's anger and divisiveness, and it's literally life-threatening in the extreme." And by the way, Jake says he hasn't read Taylor's version, the album. But yeah, what do you think? Do you think that Jake is saying that the song is not about him? Or do you go along with my theory? And now that I read this again, this is absolutely what he's saying. He's saying that the backlash that he's getting isn't necessarily about him personally. It's that the stan culture wants to protect Taylor, and they lash out at anybody who, seems to threaten Taylor's happiness. I'm not saying that's a bad thing. Don't get me wrong. I'm not saying it's a bad thing that Taylor Swift fans do it. But yeah, I definitely agree with his idea that it could be anybody, it could be anyone, but it's coming at him because he's seen as a threat to Taylor's happiness. But yeah, so I think people are totally misinterpreting what Jake is saying here. But yeah, what do you think?